All right, y'all. We got to talk about the Chris Paul situation. I've been watching Chris Paul play since 2005, right? Round one, I think he was number 4 or 5. And in all the time I have been watching him, I have yet to hear anything out of pocket about him on the court or off the court. Okay, the worst thing I may have heard is that his attitude is a little funky, when he wants to win, because he wants to win each and every game. But I cannot fault him for that. Getting into the league is very difficult. It takes focus, it takes commitment, it takes grit. And he has been on our televisions for 2 decades, y'all. Like, come on, let that sink in. A man who has dedicated his entire life, 2 decades, almost as long as some of you all have been alive, to not only basketball, but to a standard of excellence and commitment to his team and to his family. This man is a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 12-time NBA All Star, 5-time NBA All Star first team, 7-time NBA All Defensive Team, 4-time NBA assist leader, 6-time NBA steals leader, NBA Rookie of the Year, member of the 75th anniversary team, top 5 career assists, top 5 career steals, one of the few players in the NBA with 20,000 points and 11,000 assists, and the former president of the NBA Player Association. Like, come on. He held that title for 8 consecutive years. Put some respect on my man's name. I'm going to say this, and some may like it, and some may not, and I really don't care. Lawrence Frank, Donald Sterling, Chris Paul. That's it, right there. We forget that Chris was the head of the Players Association when Sterling made those racist comments, right? It was Chris who led his players in a silent protest against Sterling, flipping their jerseys inside out with the logo covered, wearing black wristbands and socks. It was Chris who threatened a boycott and openly considered walking off the court during a game that would have cost the league millions. It was Chris who started the narrative which demanded the NBA to force Sterling to sell, a move that changed NBA history based upon a violation of his unspoken social contract. A contract, I might add, that is needed because 8 out of every 10 NBA players is black. We have no majority ownership in any team anymore. And Sterling was asked by his half black girlfriend, "Do you know that you have a whole team that's black that plays for you?" And what was his response? He said, "Do I know? I support them. I give them food. I give them clothes and cars and houses. Who gives it to them? Does someone else give it to them? Who makes the game? Do I make the game or do they make the game?" See, Sterling felt like he was in control of the Clippers' contracts, right? So therefore, he was in control of their labor. Give me one other example where a person is in control of another person's labor. Are we all thinking the same thing? Slavery? I mean, come on. The vibe, it just seems to be, don't step out of line because you are just a pawn in this here game. I can put you in, I can take you out, I can replace you. I'm in control. Because look at the lifestyle I give you. Look at them clothes, look at them cars. And you could keep all of that. Just don't forget who gave it to you. Black men. Hey, look, we just watched this go down with Shador, who I believe was forced to round 5, not because the NFL owners thought Shador was bigger than the program. Okay, they didn't feel like he was humble, right? Because of Dion, right? Okay, cool, we got that. But I believe more so it was because of the structure of his contract, right? Which stated that he has to be paid for his name, image, and likeness. In the pro league, very similar to the NIL deal, right, that he already had in college. So, for example, he gets a percentage of all jersey sales. Anytime they use his name, show his face, he gets a cut. This is a revolutionary deal. And it's revolutionary, especially for a black person, black man rather, entering into the league. Because most black men just coming into the league, they don't have the balls to ask for anything like that. They're just happy to be there. They're happy to come and buy their mama a house and just not be able to, or not have to go back to where they came from, right? They just don't want to have to go back there. They're happy and they're going to take whatever you give, especially as a rookie, but not Shador. So because he stood up to the NFL and said, no, 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 no. I know the numbers. I know what I bring to the table. Rookie or not, I'm bringing views. I'm bringing money. He was passed over round after round. This is a money thing. It's not about skill. This is a money thing. And he stood up for himself. So the NFL colluded and made a conscious effort to draft him low, which would substantially decrease the amount of money he received at face value, right, for his contract. Chris Paul's teammate just spoke out. I think he was on a podcast or something. And he stated that the decision to ask Chris to leave mid-trip was due to differences with the front office. Chris was being Chris, being outspoken. We've seen that for the last 20 years. And he was saying how he felt. And he thought something had to change in the big house. The front office. And this is what led to the immediate decision. Coach Ty, in his press conference, was like, okay, well, I like Chris and we got a relationship and, it just wasn't a good fit. Okay, well, it wasn't a good fit. Sunday before he got to Miami, you knew it wasn't a good fit for a while because he really hasn't been playing. So you have been known that it wasn't a good fit. So the decision to release him could have been handled with way more grace, which leads me to believe that what his teammate said is correct, that Chris was bringing up something to the people in the big house and they didn't want to hear it. And they were probably like, look, you barely play. You're not the CP3 of the 2000s. Get to stepping. You're not going to come in my face telling me what I'm not doing, and you're not even on the court. That's what I feel like happened with Lawrence Frank. He was in his feelings, and he made a rash decision because he felt a way about something Chris brought up to him. He felt a way about being challenged. Why else would Chris be released in that way? Why would they not send him off respectfully? Everything this man has done in the league, and for the Clippers in particular, and you got the nerve to be in your feelings and just dismiss him after he already announced the retirement? No. But Donald Sterling said it. Who makes the game? Do I make the game or do they make the game? Who's in control? Somehow, Lawrence Frank played double dutch over Doc Rivers and went from assistant coach to president. So, boy, you better not give me no back talk, because I will fire your ass. Black men, you all don't have no agency in these leagues because you have no ownership in these leagues. So if you have a question, a comment, or an opinion that might go against the grain, you either voice it at a time in your career when you putting up numbers, or be quiet, because you will be Chris Paul'd and you will be Shadored. With every chance they get, they show you who's the boss. Have you not learned your position? Let me help you out. In the early 2000s, right, there was a cornrow and tattoo controversy with Allen Iverson, where many commentators and NBA execs said he looked like a street criminal, gang-related, and unprofessional because of the cornrows and the tattoos. We all remember when they made Allen wear those long-ass sleeves during the game to cover up his tattoo. Everybody was like, what is that? And Iverson later stated they didn't want the people who look like me to be the face of the NBA. Yes, Allen, you're right. Because in the words of Sterling, do they make the game or do I? In 2004, you had the Malice at the Palace with Artest, and all the black men who were fighting, they were all called criminals on national TV. They were using words like thugs and gangsters and criminal dominated the headlines, and the media demanded that the NBA control its players or corporate sponsorship will be removed. David Stern repeatedly referred to Artest as a problem and someone who needed discipline. Like he's not a grown man. In 2005, Stern implemented a dress code for the next season so that the NBA would not have a thuggish image. Are y'all following me? This band wearing baggy jeans, chains, and do-rags, all articles of clothing that define the hip-hop generation. In 2006, there was a push to ban the high school to NBA jump, despite having major success from the likes of Kobe and Kevin Garnett and LeBron. In 2005 through 2006, the NCAA deficit surpassed a whopping $7 million, which y'all know at that time was big money. But it decreased the next year, indicating that the ban was not about money, and it was about money. It was not about skill. Excuse me. They made $545 million in TV ad revenue by keeping top talent from entering the pros and not having to pay them. I could go on and on and on, but the NBA, like many professional leagues, is a shut up and play culture. And unfortunately, Chris forgot his role and was sent packing. He still wants to play for the remainder of the season, so I've seen reports say, and the Clippers still have him in a contract. You would think that if it just wasn't a good fit, you would have known that already. And the proper steps would have been in place for a buyout or for a trade. Upon him being released, how many players have we seen just get released and go home without no options, no trade, and no buyout? I don't know any. But that's how you know he went into that meeting at the big house and ruffled some feathers. And they say, Ninja, let me show you your place. Because obviously you have forgotten it. Free Chris.